Let's take a look at Racing Louisville FC versus San Diego Wave FC. This one also kicking off on Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Oh my goodness, Lisa, we've got these two teams that gave us some pretty interesting thrillers just 3-4 days ago. Quite frankly, we had San Diego Wave picking up a win over Chicago Red Stars, and we've got Racing Louisville who went ahead and came from behind and picked up a draw against Houston Dash. Racing Louisville, I think their first time taking a look at Alex Morgan in this year, right? We're taking a look at some of the teams who have played each other multiple times already in the Challenge Cup, and now we're starting to see teams branch out a little bit and get a look at other opposition that maybe they didn't get a chance to face during Challenge Cup. Lisa, when we're looking at these two teams based on the recent form, who are you looking at in this one and why?
This is such a tricky one because you're right. This is the first time Racing Louisville will be playing against a California team, let alone San Diego Wave, who's coming off of a big win last weekend over Chicago. Alex Morgan, she gets her 5th goal in 2 games, which is just incredible for San Diego Wave. Of course, 3 of them were penalty kicks. I like to make that clarification for everyone. 3 of Alex Morgan's goals were penalty kicks, but still she found the back of the net. And Racing Louisville, they're coming off of a very familiar 1-1 draw with Houston Dash, a team that they've now played 4 times, I believe, throughout the Challenge Cup and the regular season. And so for this one, Racing Louisville having to host San Diego Wave at least gives them a little bit of a leg up. I think if this game was being played in San Diego, it would also be a different story. So Racing Louisville is the host, San Diego traveling to Louisville, Kentucky to play against Racing. But for this match, we've seen Jess McDonald go on a bit of a tear in that match against Houston. It was McDonald getting the equalizer goal against Houston and a great header goal. She scored in back-to-back games for Racing Louisville, Jess McDonald. And that's what Kim Bjorkegren brought in McDonald to do, score goals for this team. We also talked about it a little bit in the midfield. We're seeing Jalen Howe come into a little bit more of her form. I think Katie Lund, goalkeeper for Racing Louisville, has done a good job keeping Louisville in a lot of games going up against some tough competition. However, San Diego is really tough competition with their attacking presence that they have. We saw Kaylee Reel get a goal last weekend. Alex Morgan, of course, knows how to find the back of the net. Young rookies and Kelsey Turnbow for San Diego can create dangerous opportunities whipping the ball in. There's a bit of an injury report happening as well with San Diego, dependent upon Abby Dahlkemper, center back, if she'll be in this match, because if we're looking at the defensive line for San Diego with Girma is the namestay in the center back right now for San Diego and Casey Stoney, having to match up against Jess McDonald. Jess McDonald loves that competition. She's going to eat that rookie for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that is a bit concerning when I look at San Diego's side. However, San Diego they're coming off 3 wins in the regular season. They are at the top of the standings. It's at this point in the season where do the Wave continue to peak, or do we see them settle and plateau a little bit into what the rest of the season could be? I don't foresee that happening. Not quite yet for San Diego Wave. This is going to be a good matchup, though. This is going to be a good matchup.
It's also like the start of like a very heavy kind of set of games. We know that all teams are going to go through these types of grinds throughout the season, where there's just going to be a little bit of a compact schedule, a lot of match days within a certain type of week. So I'm looking for that. This is going to be, I think, a different type of test for San Diego. I think that we have yet to see them kind of go through. I love to talk about a win streak. I love to talk about a scoring streak. So, I mean, if Wave end up taking this one in Louisville, it's just more fodder for us right here to continue to chat about. But on the other side of things, a team like Racing Louisville to be able to maybe kind of shatter that little the small streak right now might also be another thing where it's like, hey, look at NWSL doing NWSL things. While I've been going like most games, I usually go back and forth on when I'm thinking of a pick, but even with the quick turnaround, Lisa, even with the travel, I'm just looking at the form, and I just am too impressed right now with what San Diego is doing on the pitch. They are making it hard for me to pick against them, and I'm not going to do that on this episode now in the event That we are both incorrect, and we got to come on here and talk about how racing shocked the league. I'm excited
That's great.
to do that. That's also great for us, right? But I like what we've been seeing out of this San Diego side. I'm very, very happy to see what is going on with Casey Stoney and how she has been able to go ahead and, kind of like transition somewhat easily with NWSL play. I know that for some, even we talk about this a lot with players, but with coaches, maybe there's also that storyline or that narrative as well. Like, oh, this is a very transitional type of league. The new coaches who come in to play going to be able to go ahead and be able to transition to this league and the style of play automatically. And sometimes there's a little bit of a struggle in that, but I don't think we're seeing that with somebody like Casey Stoney. I'm appreciative of some of these small adjustments that we've already seen. A bummer for me from the last game.
Mhm.
It was tough to see somebody like Amir Ali go out. Again, we don't have the availability report. I'm not too sure what that's going to, how that might reshape some things for San Diego. If it does at all, we will see. But again, when you're going back and forth and making these picks, I'm taking a look at San Diego and I'm sticking with them too. So I think
Yeah.
you and I both going 2 for 2 here with San Diego as well. You want to put a scoreline on it? Maybe make it a little more fun?
I do want to put a
We don't
score
normally
line.
do that,
I
but
do want to put a score line on it. So Racing Louisville, they're ranked number 9 right now in the standings. They've scored 4 goals. They've had 5 goals against in the regular season. San Diego, they've put up 7 goals and they have 1 goal against. I mean, looking at that defensively, we know that Kaylin Sheridan for San Diego has been tremendous in goal. I think they get one against them, though. I think Racing Louisville gets on the board. I'm hoping for 2-1 San Diego.
all right. I think, you know what? I'll put instead of a scoreline, I'll put a different prediction on it. I think San Diego gets another penalty in this game.
Yeah, come on, Sandra.
I
That's
I
too
I,
easy. Of
I
course
think
you
I
get
think
another
I think
penalty.
I think that they're causing problems for back lines, and that's going to continue in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if San Diego wins
Okay,
themselves another penalty in this one.
so I think that's too easy because, yeah, that's
No.
probably gonna happen. Does Kaylin Sheridan get a shutout? Yes or no?
Oh man, does Kaylin Sheridan get a shutout? You know what? I'm going to say yeah. I'm going to
Okay,
say this is going to be
okay,
with the quick turnaround. Maybe it'll be less. Maybe it won't be like such a blowout. Maybe it'll be like a 1-0 or 2-0.
okay, that's fine. That's all I wanted.
All
Shutout
right.
or not. All right, fine. Moving on.
Let's take a look at Portland Thorns FC versus Washington Spirit. This one closing out the Wednesday slate of games. It's a late one, 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff if you're on the East Coast. Man, I think we got to talk about the Spirit to start off this one. Lisa, they've gone through some things a little bit since that Challenge Cup loss, and I don't know how they're gonna look in this one. Again, the quick turnaround, the travel, those type of things linger for me in the back of my mind. But you take it away. When you're looking at these two teams, are you picking anyone? Are you going win, dub? Are you going to dub? Are you going to L? Are you picking a draw? What are you looking
I
at?
haven't decided yet, honestly, because I want to talk to you about it. I want to
All
hear
right.
your thoughts a little bit. Because these two teams, I mean, this is probably my match of the Wednesday that I've circled that I'm setting my alarm for. I'm taking a nap tomorrow afternoon so that I can stay up and watch this game kicking off at 10 Eastern, because this is going to be a really good match. We know Washington Spirit, they're coming off of that tough loss to Angel City that they just suffered at home. Chris Ward, head coach for the Spirit, not too happy with how the outcome of that game went. He wasn't too happy about the lack of calls against Ashley Hatch that were not called. He mentioned something like they only tried to stop her with a bear hug and there was no foul called on that when it's illegal. So he was a little fired up about that. We didn't see Ashley Sanchez enter the game until late as a substitute against Angel City. Maybe looking to get a little bit of a rest for her. She wasn't listed on the injury report by any means, but I'm thinking that Sanchez gets a start in this match. We'll see her in the midfield, and I think we're going to have full force up top for Chris Ward with Hatch, Rodman, and Anna Helferty in the front line, and Kingsbury in goal. So I think Chris Ward's going to come out and say, I want to win this game with everything I have, despite a midweek game and weekend matches again coming up. However, when we look at Portland, some stats for everyone. Portland has never lost a home league match against Washington Spirit in 10 meetings. Incredible. So Portland's never done that. And this is tough for Portland to lose at home. Frankly, that's just how the cookie crumbles for Portland. It's a really tough place to play. But this is going to be a good match. Honestly, I could see it being a draw, like a heavy draw, because Portland's game that they just came off of against OL Reign, it wasn't the greatest. That wasn't great soccer. We didn't see goals happening. It was a 0-0 draw. There wasn't a lot of oomph coming from the Portland side. It was a wet, rainy, gross night in Portland. However, I think that they're going to bounce back, get some goals in this one, but I think I'm going to go draw between these two sides, Washington and Portland. What are you thinking?
Saving your draw for this one? I don't blame you. I think there's an argument or a case to be made there for one like this. I don't know if I'm looking at something like I don't know if I'm looking at something like rest for Portland on this one. I think going maybe Saturday or Sunday to Wednesday is tough on the body. But going Friday to Wednesday, I think is a little different. And Portland is not a team that has to travel in this one.
Agree.
I think we're looking at Spirit, who might be feeling that the effects of that a little bit more or a little bit differently, I'll just say, in a match like this. But I'm excited in this game to see. I hope we do get to see some end to end in this one. But I think if we do see that early in the match, it could lead to maybe some heavy legs towards the latter stages of the match, and that can always lead to maybe some chaotic moments in NWSL games for sure. But have to think that maybe part of the reasoning in not necessarily giving Sanchez a start on Sunday was knowing that there is another match on a quick turnaround, trying to manage, player minutes and play and incorporating player rotation. So maybe she will get tasked with the start in this one. Again, we're unsure if somebody like an Andy Sullivan will be available for this game. She has been going through and with the calf injury, I believe. And I'm curious that if she is available for this one, like the midfield's obviously going to contend a little bit with Portland and their new sort of 3-back formation that we've been looking at. And I've enjoyed that with head coach Ryan Wilkinson and this Thorns side. I think it has it's been playing well to the personnel that the Thorns are putting out on the pitch. There were no goals in that game. Against only was a 0-0 scoreless draw in a rainy, Pacific Northwest, backdrop. But it wasn't for lack of effort. I don't think. I mean, we're talking about like 17 shots apiece for each of these teams.
I know.
And it's just like they just didn't go in the back of the net, and Portland getting about 7 opportunities on target, but just unable to knock one past there. But I've liked this dynamic that we've seen between Weaver, between Smith, between Sinclair and the buildups, to try and present this sort of, impressive attack. And I'm hoping that the goals will come eventually, maybe even in this game. I think I kind of felt like maybe I wanted to go in a draw with this one, Lisa, but I really do think that it's going to come to a winner. And I think it's going to come down to those really thin margins that we always see in an NWSL match. But I'm going to be going with the home side in this one. I don't know if it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it might be another one of these kind of narrow wins for Portland. And I think it's maybe going to be something like a 1-1 or a 2-1, perhaps. Even I don't want to count out the incredible goal scorers that exist and for the Spirit, but I'm just not sure if that's going to be enough against this Portland side that has kind of swallowed up some midfielders over the last couple games that we've seen. So I'm excited to take a look and sort of see how this one plays out. I think I'm with you on that as well. We're looking at the 3 games on this midweek. If there maybe is only one that you're able to keep an eye on, I would maybe keep an eye on this one for sure. So I'm going Portland in this one, Lisa.
I love that. And you mentioned the tight margins. That's exactly it. If Andy Sullivan is back for Washington, that changes the game. It changes everything for Washington Spirit, but we don't know yet. Okay, so you've got Portland in this last match. I've got a draw closing things out on our midweek matches. Only 3. It feels so small.
I know.
But 6 on the weekends, but don't worry, we'll get them all packed in on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Again.